Hello everyone, I am Adrian Armaningo and I am here to discuss the chapter 1 up until chapter 4 of the El Filibusterismo. Introduction to El Filibusterismo. So El Filibusterismo is about justice, nationalism, and education. So El Filibusterismo is the second novel written by Dr. Jose Rizal and the sequel to Noli Me Tangere. So the novel presents the harsh realities of Philippine society during the Spanish colonial period, exposing corruption, abuse of power, and social injustice experienced by Filipinos. So unlike Noli Me Tangere, which focuses on peaceful reforms, El Filibusterismo carries a darker and revolutionary tone that reflects the growing desire for freedom and change. So, let's start the chapter 1, titled On the Upper Deck. So, the story begins aboard the steamship Tabo, traveling along the Pasig River. So, the passengers here are divided according to their social class. Wealthy officials, friars, and influential people stay on the upper deck while ordinary Filipinos remain below. So in this chapter, Simon is introduced as a wealthy jeweler and advisor to the governor general. So Simon proposes digging a straight canal to make the travel easier, but however, it gets rejected by Don Custodio. So in this chapter, it highlights the social inequality and corruption in the society.
So, good day everyone. I am Ayla Flormentong and I will be continuing our report by discussing chapters 2 and 3 of El Filibusterismo entitled Under the Deck and Legends. Now let's move on to chapter 2, Under the Deck. Unlike the upper deck, where wealthy officials and friars stay comfortably, this chapter focuses on the lower deck, where ordinary Filipinos stay. Rizal uses this setting to clearly show the difference between social classes during the Spanish colonial period. Like while the rich people are relaxing upstairs, the ordinary Filipinos are experiencing discomfort and hardship below. The lower deck is crowded with passengers together with their luggage and belongings. The place is hot, noisy, and uncomfortable because it is located near the chief engine. Among the passengers are Basilio, Isagani, and Capitan Basilio. Their main topic of discussion is the proposed Spanish Language Academy. They believe that education and learning the Spanish language could help Filipinos gain better opportunities and equal treatment. Basically, they believe education can help Filipinos improve their lives despite the discrimination they experience. Later in the chapter, Simon approached Basilio and Isagani and invites them to drink, but they politely refuse. Isagani explained that water gives life while too much beer can destroy people. This conversation reflects the different beliefs and values of the characters. Overall, this chapter highlights the struggle of Filipinos and emphasizes the importance of education during Spanish colonization. Now, let's proceed to chapter 3 entitled Legends. After showing the condition of ordinary Filipinos in chapter 2, Rizal shifts the focus to the legends and stories shared by the passengers during their journey along the Pasig River. These stories reflect Filipino culture, traditions, and beliefs during that time. So even though these are just stories, they actually reveal how people thought and lived during the colonial period. One legend mentioned is about the Malapad na Bato, which people believe was once inhabited by spirits before the arrival of the Spaniards. However, as these beliefs slowly disappeared, the place eventually became a hiding area for thieves and criminals. Padre Florentino also shares the story of Doña Jeronima, a woman who waited many years for her lover to return. Unfortunately, when he finally came back, he had already become an archbishop. Instead of marrying her, she was made to live in a cave near the river. Honestly, her story shows sacrifice and sadness because she waited for love for many years but still ended up alone. Another legend talks about a crocodile that supposedly turned into stone through the miracle of Saint Nicholas. So, crocodile familiar. So, we can also relate this to the Philippines today because the word crocodile or buwaya is commonly used to describe corrupt or greedy officials. Just like in the novel, Rizal also criticized people in power who abuse ordinary Filipinos for their own benefit. Although these stories seem entertaining, Rizal uses them to show how superstition, fear, and blind beliefs influenced society during that time. At the same time, these legends also reflect the rich culture and imagination of Filipinos. And that ends my discussion for chapters 2 and 3. Thank you, everyone.
Good day, everyone. So I'm Crit Alasdose from BIS IT3, and I'll be continuing on reporting about the chapter 4, which entitled Kabisang Tales. So Kabisang Tales introduced as an hardworking farmer who developed a piece of land with the help of his family. However, despite all his sacrifices, the friars claimed ownership of the land and continuously increased the taxes he needed to pay. Because of this injustice and abuse he experienced, Kabisang Tales eventually became abandoned. So his character represents the suffering and oppression experienced by the Filipino farmers during the Spanish colonial period. So in short, Kabisang Tales shows and exposes how greed and abuse of power by the church and authorities push innocent, hard-working Filipino farmers into desperation and rebellion. So moving on, let's go with chapter 5, which is entitled A Coachman's Christmas Eve. So in this title, or in chapter, Basilio returns to San Diego during Christmas Eve. So while traveling, the coachman named Senong was beaten by the guards because he forgot to bring his cedula, or a residence tax certificate. So this scene shows the abuse of authority and unfair treatment experienced by ordinary Filipinos. So Basilio later learns that Kabisang Tales was captured, which makes him worried and saddened. So this chapter highlights the harsh reality of daily life under colonization. So wherein even holidays bring no peace and ordinary people suffer cruelty and unfair treatment from those in power. It reinforms how authority was often used to oppress rather than protect. And that's all.
Hey everyone, my name is Giselle Garciao and I will be presenting the chapter 6 and the chapter 7. So first, let's tackle the chapter 6. This chapter contrasts sharply with Basilio's beliefs in education and peaceful progress. Basilio continues studying medicine despite many hardships. Although he faces financial problems and personal struggles, he remains determined to finish his education. Basilio dreams of becoming a doctor. He believes education can improve his future and help his family live a better life. He is also in a loving relationship with Julie. Julie supports and inspires Basilio during difficult times. Through Basilio's journey, Rizal emphasizes the importance of education, perseverance, and hope. Basilio represents the youth who strive for success through hard work and patience. In contrast to Basilio, Chapter 7 introduces Simon, a mysterious and wealthy jeweler with a hidden identity. Simon is revealed to be Crisostomo Ibarra from Noli Me Tangere. After years away, he returned disguised as a rich jeweler. unlike the idealistic Ibarra from before. Simon is now driven by anger and revenge. He wants to overthrow the corrupt government and punish those who abuse him and the Filipino people. Simon believes that revolution is the only solution to injustice. His experience transformed from a hopeful reformist into a man seeking radical change. Rizal uses Simon to show the dangerous effects of corruption, oppression, and abuse of power. Simon symbolizes rebellion and the desire for freedom. Basilio and Simon represents two different paths in facing injustice. Basilio chooses education and perseverance, while Simon chooses revenge and revolutions. That's all.
So I given a task to report about unshortened the story in the chapter 8 entitled Merry Christmas. So in Merry Christmas highlighted the wealthy families celebrate Christmas happily. Poor families continue endure suffering from poverty. Julie sacrificed her belongings to help her grandfather, and the chapter also highlights to help the social inequality in the society. So this chapter shows two opposite realities during Christmas. So the rich enjoy celebration, food, and comfort, while the poor suffer from hunger, cold, and hardship. So this chapter emphasizes Julie's sacrifice for her grandfather, so I'll highlight the selflessness of the poor despite their suffering. In connection to the novel, in El Filibusterismo, this chapter strengthens the theme of social injustice under Spanish rule. So Rizal shows that even during a time of joy like Christmas, inequality remains visible. The rich class lives comfortably while the oppressed Filipinos endure sufferings. This helps build the emotional foundation for Simon, anger, and desire for revenge in the story. So, sa akin nga chapter bitaw kay like kuan dili gid parehas pag-celebrate ang mga dato ug pobre during Christmas. So, while ang uban nagpakalipay, ang mga pobre sad nagpabilin og nga pobre. So, na diri ra man nato makita nga sa una dili gid ta parehas. Kung dato ka, pobre ka. Kung pobre ka, ipalubog ka, birahon ka paubos. Kung dato ka, birahon ka pataas din. Sayon ra nimo pairalon ang kanang batas. Kaya ra nimo sila bayaran. And kaya ra sad nimo mapalit tanan yung sa imong gusto. Continuation to chapter 8, the chapter 9 entitled Pelate. So, colonial officials avoid responsibility for problem and the society. Authorities highlight the authorities continue to blame others instead of helping the people. The chapter shows the lack of justice and accountability. Officials are compared to Pontius Pilate from the Bibles. So, makita ninyo dira sa atong pictures, no? About how kanang mga officials wala sila gibuhat kung unsa ilang responsibility. So, these chapters criticize the government officials. So, ang ginaigo ani ang katong mga liberado kanang may mga posisyon sa taas who avoid responsibility for society problems. So, ginatakasan nila ang problema sa komunidad. Instead nga motabang sila sa mga tao, down nila ang uban nga wala sila ilapot. So, in connection to the novel, no, in Il Filibusterismo, this reflects Rizal's strong criticism of the colonial government. The officials are compared to Pontius Pilate because they wash their hands of responsibility, just like Pilate did in the Bible. So, This shows the corruption, injustice, and moral failure of those in power, which fuels the growing resentment of Filipinos, especially characters like Simon, who represent revenge against a broken system.
Good day everyone, I am Jamelin Manggilimutan from VS84. So today I will be discussing Chapter 10 of El Filibusterismo, entitled Wealth and Poverty. This chapter mainly focuses on the unequal situation between the rich and the poor during the Spanish colonial period. During that time, wealthy people continued to enjoy comfortable lives and privileges, while ordinary Filipinos experience poverty, suffering, and injustice. Rizal wanted readers to realize how unfair society during colonization. So, before we go deeper into the lesson of the chapter, Rizal first shows us the reality experienced by many Filipino families during that time. One example of this is the story of Cabe Santales and his family. Cabe Santales was a hardworking farmer who only wanted a peaceful and better life for his family. Cabe Santales spent many years from working on his land and improving it through hard work and sacrifice. However, even though he worked honestly, the land was still taken away from him unfairly. Because of this injustice, his family slowly suffered from poverty and hardship. His daughter Julie even had to work as a servant just to help support the family. Through this situation, Rizal shows how poor Filipinos suffer despite their hard work and sacrifices. At the same time, the chapter also introduces Simon carrying expensive jewelry and valuable items. Unlike Abisintales, Simon represents wealth, influence, and power, while poor Filipinos struggle to survive. Wealthy people continue to enjoy comfortable lives and privileges. This chapter compares the lives of the rich and the poor. It also shows how cruel and unfair treatment can affect a person, especially by those in authority or power. Cabezantales was once peaceful and hardworking, but because of the unfair treatment and suffering he experienced, he slowly became angry and hopeless. This chapter shows that continuous injustice and poverty can greatly affect a person's life and decisions. This chapter highlights the social inequality, injustice, abuse of power, and the struggles experienced by Filipinos during colonization. To conclude, chapters 1 to 10 of El Filibusterismo expose the corruption, abuse, and social injustice experienced by Filipinos during the Spanish colonial period. Rizal highlights the suffering experienced by ordinary Filipinos under an unfair society. Many people experience poverty, oppression, and unequal treatment from those in power. The novel also promotes important values such as education, justice, and nationalism. It also shows how Filipinos responded differently to oppression. Some believed in peaceful reform and education, while others believed that revolution was necessary to fight injustice. Through the characters and events in the novel, Rizal wanted Filipinos to become aware of society's problems and encourage them to fight for freedom, equality, and positive change. Overall, chapters 1 to 10 of El Filibusterismo remind us of the importance of justice, education, and unity for the future of our country. And that ends our discussions for chapters 1 to 10 of El Filibusterismo. Thank you everyone for listening.